Welcome back everyone. So last year I ended up making a video talking about basically a ton of my older iPhones and kind of mentioning all these little different tweaks and repos and all these different things for my iPhones, but I wanted to make reviews of them individually and I ended up doing it last year and I want to do the same exact thing this year as well. And starting off, I want to talk about with my iPhone 5S specifically why a jailbroken version of this phone is still extremely awesome in 2021 and to be honest, humongous reasons why you should update and jailbreak your device. Now for older iPhones like these, it's almost like a no-brainer because even if it messes up, you can relatively get a new one or fix it fairly easily or even get it repaired fairly easily, but nothing's going to happen. Now I will have my jailbreak tutorials and like a bunch of repos and names of these tweaks that I'm going to mention throughout this video. So you can go and check out the description if you want to. Now I will tell you, jailbreak at your own risk. Sometimes things can happen, but every single time I've jailbroken a phone and I've jailbroken a ton of iPhones, even a bunch of 5Ss, I very rarely run into issues. You know, you can jailbreak through checkra1n, through the Uncover, I think now, and some other methods as well. And there's so many different ways to do it. If you want to, go for it. I would highly recommend it. But without further ado, let's get started. Now, I will tell you the first widget that I recently just found out about that I'm so happy to be known about basically is HS Widgets. Now you can download this, I think you have to install a repo for it, but it basically allows you to get these type of widgets on your iPhone, which I can't believe, they look so good in my opinion. The 5S does not support any, widgets natively because it doesn't have iOS 14, but I think this phone suits it well. I was able to get widgets on my iPhone SE, and with this device, it looks just like my iPhone SE to be honest. Now, it does, from my understanding, it doesn't necessarily heat your phone up, but because you have to be in a jailbroken state and because you have to have these widgets always, refreshing and all that, it does suck up a little bit of battery life, but it actually does a pretty decent job at displaying things accurately. Sometimes it doesn't refresh, but it just visually looks so good and it can really breathe new life onto an older iPhone like an iPhone 5S. So that's my very first widget. I love that widget a lot. Now the next one is Clean Home Screen. Now I talked about this last year as well. This little widget actually kind of takes away all of the app names and even the lock screen information on your iPhone 5S. Now you may be asking yourself, well, functionally, why would you even want to do that? Well, there's really no functional reason to have it on your phone, to be completely honest, but it just really just makes your phone look that much more minimalistic and it makes it look cleaner. When you have a phone like an iPhone 5S, dude, this phone came out in 2013. It's not a brand new phone anymore, but it can still look pretty modern if you go ahead and, install these type of tweaks. That's why I love the widgets one. And that's also why I love this widget because it just makes your iPhone look so much more modern, which is so cool. Now this next one is almost like a no-brainer in my opinion. This is like the number one widget that I always love to recommend to, older iPhone users. And this one is called No Slow Animations. What the specific tweak does is that it goes ahead and speeds up your iPhone quite a bit. So at first, I didn't really know about it too much, but it definitely speeds up your iPhone a noticeable amount. Literally things like, swapping out of animations or going through anything or opening up an app, those type of things actually speed up by a bit. It's almost like you have an iPhone that's kind of newer, like an iPhone 7 or iPhone 8. With an iPhone 5S, things are visibly slow, but with this type of tweak, it can actually increase the speed of your device overall, which is cool. Now the next one I want to hit on is Modern Dock. Now it kind of gets you the newer iPhone dock, which, if you know iOS 14 and all these other ones with your iPhone 10 or iPhone 11, it's not really a dock that spreads across the whole screen. It's kind of like your, Mac OS dock in a way. And what this one does is it allows you to actually go ahead and have that newer type of dock that's on the iPhone 10s or iPhone 11 or 12 onto this type of iPhone, which, as I mentioned before, is a really cool thing. This is another visual change. It's not a functional one. You're not going to be able to gain any features from it, but it makes your iPhone look a little bit more, newer. And again, it's one of those things that I always talk about. Now, the next one is another functional one, actually. It's the accelerated home button. Now, this is another one which, again, you can just go into Cydia or Cilium or whatever it's called and go ahead and just, install it this way without having a repo. And accelerated home button basically makes it so whenever you click the home button, it just immediately hops out of whatever you're doing and goes straight into your app or whatever your home screen is. And this is something which, just like the no slow animations, you just have to try it. With a phone like it, with like a phone that has a home button, with like an iPhone SE 2, for example, that phone, as soon as you click the button, it's almost instantaneous. The 5S with the accelerated home button is almost the same thing. Like, it's totally unbelievable. It's one of those things that it's almost like a no-brainer. If you have an older iPhone, doing something like this can definitely increase the speed of your device for sure. So that one is accelerated home button. Now, another amazing feature, just a huge thing that you have to do in order to actually love your iPhone 5S, if it's still, you're still rocking it, is to actually go ahead and install Force in Picture. Now, what this tweak does is, it's a little bit different for sure, but what it does is that it allows you to actually go ahead and pop out your specific video that you want to watch in picture mode, just like on iOS 14. Now, the reason I say it's a little bit different is because of YouTube. For some reason, they went ahead and actually disabled picture in picture. So I don't know when they're going to re-enable it. Sometimes it gets re-enabled and disabled, but as of right now, we really don't know. But it's still a really cool tweak to have. If you want to go into some other websites that have this type of picture-in-picture layout, you can go ahead and pop it out in terms of that and still have a really good experience on your device and still use some cool iOS 14 features on your older iPhone. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone already knows this next one, but it's dark mode using Eclipse. There's a couple of other tweaks that you can go and use as well, but I've always found for some reason Eclipse being the better one. It's always been consistently there for me, and without getting too emotional, I think it is the better one in my opinion, without having to pay for it. So I think it's Eclipse 12 or Eclipse 11 that is actually the free one. So I would highly recommend you guys to download the free one if you want to support them, download the regular one. But this basically gives you that iOS 13 type of dark mode on your device. And I've been talking about this tweak for a while, and I think this is almost like a no-brainer as well. It's a tweak that just allows you to gain so much more functionality just by having that dark mode. If only this display was OLED, it would be so much better. Unfortunately, it's not, but I still think it's a no-brainer to have on your device for sure. So this one as well. So Eclipse, again, is another one of my favorite ones. And finally, the last tweak that I always recommend people to download, it is like my favorite tweak of all time. And this one is Gestures 10S, Gestures XS. There's also Gestures 10. There may be even Gestures 11, I don't know. But basically, if you just type in Gestures on Cydia or Cilio, you basically be able to install this specific tweak. And this tweak actually allows you to go ahead and get those iPhone 11, iPhone 12 type of gestures on your iPhone 5S. So just imagine this. Imagine being able to swipe up and swipe between apps and all this stuff without having to double click the home button or without even having to use the home button at all. And one thing that I always got freaked out about is that if I constantly use the home button, it would break over time. That is not the case. That is not going to be the case anymore if you install this tweak, which I think is awesome. I am so used to using gestures, I cannot imagine using a home button anymore. And I think it's such an awesome thing that this tweak allows you to do. So it basically just allows you to gain that type of functionality, which is awesome. Is it a game changer? Yes, I honestly do think this is the best tweak. I saved it to the end, but it's literally my favorite tweak to recommend to people. As you can see, it's just like seeing this type of, gesture-based design on an iPhone 5S is so crazy to me, and it's just like one of my favorite things to look at. So that really pretty much covers it up for the most part. A couple things I wanted to hit on. The battery life is going to go down a little bit if you install a bunch of different tweaks. There can be some, inconsistencies in the performance and stuff. But typically, if you have a phone on the side or even on your main phone, with the 5S, like I mentioned, it can get you a much better experience from what I've seen. If you jailbreak it, then keep it stock. If you need a more stable phone, keep it stock. But if you don't mind, having some problems here and there, and you can go ahead and do that, dude, a jailbroken iPhone 5S is such an amazing phone for sure. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. So it'd mean so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly, everything else, every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.